Okay, I think this is video 4. So, as I mentioned in the first video, these books that I selected specifically on this table are based on some things that we're going through right now and some things that are to come. So, Easter is coming. The Bernstein Bears is a great read. This I can lend out. I can lend out all these. Easter eggs. And then one by Paul Showers that I really enjoy is The Listening Walk. I know most of us can only get out for a 5-minute walk right now, and that's about all we can do. The Listening Walk is a great story for your children because it goes through the different motions of going on a walk and not talking on that walk and listening to things that we hear around us. And it's fun because the kids can make the noises that they hear throughout the story, and you can make it a fun project. And if that's all you do during the day for the 2 hours or less that you have to teach, then that'd be fine. I mean, even on your listening walk, you can take some counters or dice or chalk and do a math lesson on the walk. So this is a good read. If anyone wants to borrow this, is like kindergarten, first grade level. Another one that I really enjoy, because my son, again, is autistic. He likes to tinker around a lot while we're reading. It's hard for him to focus and listen to a story. And some advice that I got while homeschooling, which made me feel so much better, was that even though it seems like your child is not listening, they're listening. A mother or father's voice is very, I'm trying to think of the word, soothing. And these books, although they don't have lots of pictures, you can give your child some Cheerios to play with or some seeds or rocks. Rocks are really fun for homeschool. I'll go into that during the math segment, but just using what you have around you, even just a piece of chalk with rocks. You can sit down outside or inside and just read a short story, and these are a good read. So this is Seed Babies by Margaret Warner Morley. The Burgess Animal Book for Children. Another good read. Some of the stories are just about a page, 2 pages. They're short. You can talk about them, go into science project afterward. Talk about nature. Where was I? Okay. Going into emotion. Frog and Toad is a really good series that you could focus on with your children while being in quarantine. Looks like Frog's in quarantine too. He's ready to get out. And you know what? I opened to this page and I kind of find it quite funny because that probably was me this morning, and that's my husband. Just trying to help get us out of bed right now. I think that's the point we're all at right now. It's just trying to get out of bed and get dressed. So that's a good read. Aesop's Fable. Unfortunately, I only have one. But, you know, if you are going to borrow it, you can have those 7 days to go through a few of these. And they're clever. Talking about Aesop's Fables, The Crow and the Pitcher. This story specifically is one of my favorites because the crow wants to get a drink of water. And he can't because his beak is too big to fit into the pitcher. So he gets clever and he fills the pitcher up with rocks, pebbles. And because of the weight, the water rises. So the crow, this story talks about using your mind and different ways that you can problem solve, which I think we're all trying to do right now in this quarantine. So just with rocks outside or in your front porch or in your backyard, you can just get an old soup can and do that experiment quickly. That should just take about a good 25 minutes. Rhyming is how the kids learn to read. It's fun. Everybody likes it. This is always a great read. You cannot go wrong with Dr. Seuss. If you need some Dr. Seuss books, I have tons that I can lend out. And then going back to Mr. Rogers. He's great for emotions. And I like that he talks slow because he really gets a good message across, especially with his patience. And he really reaches into children's hearts because a lot of things he talks about is being scared or afraid or not understanding. If you'd like to borrow a puppet, I do have some puppets to lend out as well. You know, and these are just some great poems. What do you do with the mad that you feel? Letters to Mr. Rogers. You can have your children start to write letters to each other or their classmates. You can write letters to each other. Amelia Bedelia is good. I have 2 copies. Helen Keller is great. If you don't know about her story, YouTube has a good movie that children can watch about learning and how she didn't have her eyes or her ears, and she still learned. She persevered through her struggles, and she still learned. My Father's Dragon is a good first grade read with the family. If your child is learning the Pledge of Allegiance, this is a good book with some illustrations. The words are big. They can learn with this book. The Story of Johnny Appleseed, it's a 2-hour lesson. The first half hour is reading the story and getting the materials ready. You can have your children put a pot on their head like Johnny Appleseed did. You cut some apples, you use some red and green finger paint, which I can provide, and you do a Johnny Appleseed lesson plan. I have some poetry that I can lend out. This is a cute one. And I'm going to stop this because I think I'm going over on this video, and we'll go into Pete the Cat in just a moment.